Psst. Yeah, you. Come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Book Report, where we're going to be talking some state and national reports for sports betting numbers, launches. As usual, we have one or two to talk about, maybe a couple more. Legislation. We always have legislation to talk about with the ever-expanding industry of sports betting in this country, and a lot of deals to talk about. We may not get to all of them, but if we don't, they will be in print form on the Turnpike Sports blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button, and you will see the print version of all the stories that we will talk about and some of the ones we do not get to talk about. Let's start off with closing the book on April of 2021.
So you're talking about a month behind, so you must be talking about Illinois.
Illinois has reported their April numbers.
Oh, wow. Great.
They had a sports betting handle of 537.2 million, and mobile accounted for about 95% of that. I'm not going into too much detail here because the important thing was Illinois reported the second highest sports betting total in the country for April. Only New Jersey did better.
Okay.
New Jersey had 748 million, give or take a couple bucks here, for their handle in April. Illinois came in second. Pennsylvania came in third. Nevada finished fourth. Yeah, Nevada is slowly going down the monthly handle thing. It'll pick up again.
It's a matter of population. Look, let's be honest. Nevada is sparsely populated in comparison to New Jersey or Illinois or Pennsylvania. So that's the situation.
Well, I'm curious to see what Nevada's
still
main
a fun
numbers.
Place to bet, still a fun place to go, but
I'm very curious to see Nevada's main numbers because now that it's 100% open, they didn't have too many people there until the very end of the month, but there was a lot of people that went to Nevada and also Vegas in particular at the end of the month.
People went to Vegas; they didn't go to Nevada.
Well, some people, some people like the other ones.
Let's go look at the desert. No, they went to Vegas.
You still have Henderson, you still have Reno, you still have all those.
I know, but they went to Vegas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vegas reopened. That was the key. Other couple of numbers with Illinois reporting their numbers in April, the total sports handle for the national level of sports betting handle was $3.7 billion. This is the first month since December of 2020 that the United States did not eclipse the $4 billion mark in handle.
Okay.
It was down 20% from March. The April handle was $3.7 billion, like I just said. The March handle was $4.6 billion.
Wow. Okay.
And again, like I said, the top four shifted in terms of who was what in terms of ranking: New Jersey, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and then Nevada. Let's see. Also, revenue was down for April, 17.6 on a national level. I'm talking about 17.6% down from March. March had 256.1 million in April. I'm sorry. March reported $310 million in revenue for the nation. April had $256 million. So again, down.
Yeah, well, it's expected. I mean,
March Madness. You're getting
March is a huge month for betting because of March Madness, so,
Well, now
it's expected.
Now we have our main numbers. Oh, one last little note. Deutsche Bank, actually, for Illinois, in terms of their April numbers, Deutsche Bank noted that FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetRivers generated 81% of the total mobile handle for the state. Yet in Barstool, that got to about 90%. So that was the entire mobile market, basically, those three books.
So FanDuel was number one, right?
FanDuel was number one.
Okay.
Let's see. We're going over into May now.
Now we're in May.
Yeah.
All right.
We always have to start a month behind with Illinois there. So going into May's numbers, now we got a couple states, Indiana, Iowa, West Virginia, Michigan reported their retail numbers as well. One thing I did notice of the 4 states we're going to talk about, all of them had their handle decrease from the month prior. From April to May, they decreased. Except for Indiana. Their handle went up.
Oh, okay. I wonder what was going on in Indiana.
I don't know, but Indiana had a handle of $254 million. That was a 7% increase from April, which was $236. It's not a huge increase, but it is the only one so far that's shown an increase between April and May. Mobile betting was about $234 million, 92% of the month's total handle. So Indiana's mobile market is healthy. Let's see, top sports by handle. Basketball had 82.3 million. Parlays did 62 million. People love parlays in this country.
Well, yeah, no, but
football.
You got to be smart about them. Just don't, know their extreme long shots. So
yeah.
Well,
it depends on the
I do
parlays
too, but I don't do crazy amounts that I bet on them.
Well, it really depends on the parlays you're doing too. I mean, I've been doing single game NBA parlays, and I actually had six parlays in a row that I won. And I've just been picking and choosing what I'm putting in the parlays.
I did a very small parlay last weekend. I took the Sixers -2, and I took the Suns +2, and that won for me. So, parlays can work out, but long shots though.
The top sport, like I said, was basketball. Parlays came in second. Football is still paying out in Indiana. They had handles of 1.4 million, and that also.
Well, I guess they're futures, right?
And also spring football too. There's a lot of college spring football that's being played too.
They're not betting on really.
Yeah,
my God,
you can do that.
Oh, I don't know about.
A couple things to note here, in terms of handle. Ameristar partnered with Draftkings, led in handle, and Draftkings brought in about $81 million in handle. Second place was Blue Chip, partnered with FanDuel, and then Belterra partnered with BetMGM. Okay, so basically you're seeing almost a similar top 3 that we just talked about in Illinois. In terms of revenue, Blue Chip and FanDuel led the way with Hollywood and Barstool breaking into the top 3. So we're seeing there's little different things here. Barstool is coming up in certain categories. FanDuel and DraftKings are always going to be there. BetMGM is leading in other categories as well. It's just kind of interesting to see how these markets are shaping up here. Iowa and West Virginia both reported their May numbers. Both were down from the previous month. Again, Iowa had a handle of about 114 million. Online amounted to about 99.9 million, 87% of the total handle.
Okay.
West Virginia sports betting handle was 25.5 million. That's down from April, not by much. April had about a $26.5 million handle. May was 25.5. Mobile betting was 18.4 million of that. So again, maybe 75-80% of the total handle. Not a huge number in terms of like other states like Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, which have really always high mobile handle numbers. Michigan, their retail books reported a total handle of about 20.2 million, just under that. That's down from April's 24 million. Year to date, the casinos have reported a retail handle. Motor City, $3.79 million in revenue. Greektown, $3.73, and MGM 2.73 million in terms of retail handle. Yeah.
Okay. I thought MGM would be higher.
I thought so too, but
well, when I think of Michigan,
this is only retail, so online is going to be totally different.
When I think a guy sitting in New Jersey thinks of Michigan and gambling, I think MGM. So I guess they just got better publicity in New Jersey.
Again, it's Pennsylvania and New Jersey are more mature markets than Michigan.
When you say mature, you mean older?
Longer in business.
Okay.
Longer in business.
So, no, but like I said, when I think of Michigan, I think MGM. I think, that's what I think of.
Well, going over, you just mentioned New Jersey.
Okay.
We got some horse racing numbers from Monmouth Park.
Horse racing numbers.
It's not really the numbers that matter. It's something else going on that I noticed in some of these stories I was reading about in terms of what's going on with the sports betting handle. They compared it to 2019. This year's betting on the horses at Monmouth Park.
Monmouth Park.
And you're seeing a huge decrease in the amount bet so far going into this season. And one of the things I noticed, there was a conversation about the new whipping rule.
The new whipping rule?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're not allowed to whip the horses.
Yeah, it's...
and they're wondering whether or not if you're betting on a horse that the rider can whip and actually get to the front of the line, people are betting on that, and they're not anticipating the whipping rule, which decreases the chance of that horse's urgence to get to the finish line. They're saying that's why people aren't winning as much or betting as much.
I'm curious to see if there's a less impactful way of spurring a horse on, and I hate to use the word spur. But, is there a way that you can increase it without really injuring the horse or inflicting any kind of discomfort to the horse?
Well, I think if you look at what's going on, it may just be too early to figure out. They may have to figure out certain things moving ahead in terms of how to urge the horse, because on Memorial Day, the race, all the total handle for Memorial Day's racing was down almost 23%.
Wow.
From 2019. It's affecting, I guess, the betting in terms of hesitations, maybe, or something.
They ought to publicize the horse racing a little more. I mentioned Michigan. I think of MGM. When I hear Monmouth Park, I think of the sports book there. I'm not thinking horse racing there. Maybe they should, promote that a little more.
Well, again, it's part and parcel of some of these numbers. But again, horse racing and sports betting, they still don't mix the handles. Let's go over to a couple launches here. One of the big ones was BetMGM launching in DC.
Speaking of BetMGM.
Yep. There's a BetMGM kind of...
now when I think of Washington, D.C., I'm going to think of BetMGM just like I think of BetMGM when I hear Michigan.
Well, you can only think of BetMGM when you're within 2 blocks of Nationals Park, because that's the only time you can use it.
Geolocation has come so far in the last decade, or more than a decade, actually. I don't even remember. I'll tell you, I always tell the story when online gambling came to New Jersey, geolocation was terrible. Because, in my living room, I could play online poker. In my bedroom, I couldn't because they said one was too close to Pennsylvania than the other one. And I don't have a big house, but that's how bad geolocation was back then.
Well, just before we get a little further into the story here, just to refresh everybody's memory, this is a deal BetMGM made with the Washington Nationals.
Yep.
For sports betting. It's a multi-year partnership. They are the official sports betting partner of the Washington Nationals. And what this deal entails, they got market access for the DC market. You can download the app, the BetMGM sports betting app, actually the BetMGM app right now. I don't know if you can say it any other way, but it's only sports betting. BetMGM sports betting app, you can download it anywhere in the district.
Okay.
But you can only use it when you're in Nationals Park or within 2 blocks of the park.
Okay.
Now, the other part of this deal is going to be the more interesting one, I think. It's going to be the more fun one. I actually may have to take a trip to National Park at some point to see this. The 2 parties are going to build an actual retail sports book in the park.
See, that's great. Hopefully, it'll be 365 days open. Yeah, didn't we have this conversation about the other arena in Washington, D.C.? They were planning on just having the retail sportsbook open during
That was the initial thing.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, but which arena was that? That
Capital
was,
One.
Capital One. Okay, they have one in the arena now. They have a retail sportsbook in the arena, but early going on, they were talking about just having the retail sportsbook only open during game days. But, now it's open 365 days a year. I'm assuming that the one that's going to be built at Nationals Park will be open year-round.
That'll be open year-round.
Good.
And also, every time a state has this set up in their sports betting law, like Arizona, initially when Arizona introduced their sports betting bills, they had discussions about whether or not to have the retail books open in the arenas only on game days. And then the same thing with Maryland, too. Maryland did the same thing. It's a matter of it makes more sense to have them open year-round.
I mean, if you want to make real money, open them up all year round.
Also, if you think about it, it helps the venues, too, because people are going to be using the concessions if they're not. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. See, they got to be open year-round because it's the only way to justify having the sports book open. I mean, if you're the stadium owner, you got to have at least some other food options there.
Sure.
And people actually can sit and enjoy the games from elsewhere because you're going to be watching them on the screens.
Yeah.
So there's like a trickle down effect of all these in-arena sports books that a lot of people are going to start noticing. They're going to increase revenues for the actual venues themselves. You actually may see other companies get into building venues just to get a sports book in there.
Good.
Let's see. We had PointsBet also announce a market access deal in Maryland. We just talked about Maryland just 2 seconds there. PointsBet and the Riverboat Group, which runs the Riverboat on the Potomac. Why am I having trouble saying that word?
Potomac.
But in the Riverboat on the Potomac, once regulations, everything is approved in terms of the access.
Yeah, I've been down there several times. I've never seen a riverboat on the Potomac.
Well, do you have?
When I think of riverboats, I'm thinking down south.
Well, again, if you think about it,
deep south.
There's areas of the river you don't see. If you're just in D.C., you don't really see the Potomac in Maryland. I've never actually paid attention outside of D.C. to the Potomac.
Okay. Right.
So, but PointsBet got a market access deal for the state of Maryland. And one other thing I noticed in an article, I believe it was Sportico or Front Office Sports. I think it was Front Office Sports. They reported that ESPN is exploring the idea of doing their own branded sports book. And this is all because Connecticut is going to be passing sports betting.
See, that was great. I remember going to the ESPN Sportsbook in Times Square, which was such a great place to watch a game. And if they handle it like that, ESPN Sportsbook would be an amazing event. If it's like their sports bar that was in Times Square that eventually closed up. But, that they seem to handle it really well.
Well, remember, they had multiple ESPN zones.
Yeah,
that's what they were called.
I have
zones.
Several T-shirts from several different areas. I think they did. They have one in Vegas.
They had one in Vegas,
Chicago, or something like that. Or
they had one in Chicago. They had one in Vegas. They had one in.
I gotta go reference my T-shirts.
I actually don't know if they had one in Philly.
No, I don't think they had one in Philly.
But they had a couple of them.
Their best one was Times Square, though.
Yes. Yeah. But again, if they can actually pull the trigger on a ESPN branded sportsbook, they're going to have a sportsbook on campus in Bristol, Connecticut.
That'd be great,
because that would actually create maybe tourism traffic too for them.
Sure.
But they're always willing to try everything. When Connecticut started talking about passing sports betting, they were interested, and they started doing a lot of the sports betting programs we see on ESPN now. Now they're all in. They are actually getting rid of some of their big names. They're not renewing contracts, and they're bringing gambling personnel.
Good.
So it'll be interesting to see the transformation of ESPN from just the media company to a sports betting company, if that actually happens. I would assume the first one's going to be in Connecticut.
The first one, the first one might be in Vegas. Don't they do a show out in Vegas?
They have one in the link.
What's the name of the show out in Vegas?
Daily Wager.
Daily Wager.
It's in the link. It's in the link.
It's okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see if that would be their first sports
Well,
book.
I think also
If they even go with the sports book route.
if you think about where would the easiest route to get a sports betting license would be, it might even be Jersey. You might see one in Atlantic City,
Oh, yeah, it'd be fun.
or even the Meadowlands.
That would be really fun.
Or they could even look at doing something with one of the other racetracks, Monmouth Park. Might do well with a ESPN sportsbook there. You never know. That's a whole new ball of wax there if you think about with ESPN getting involved with this stuff. Moving over to legislation, a lot of things are happening with Connecticut, New York,
Louisiana.
Louisiana had one of two bills signed by the governor at taping time. That two sports betting bills were passed by the House and Senate. One of them was signed by the governor. The other one is waiting his signature. I noticed two things.
It's interesting. I saw those reports, and I found it interesting that the governor's name is John Bell Edwards. Is Bell a middle name? Is Bell part of his last name? Or what is Bell? I've never heard of Bell.
Honestly, I do
And it's
not
not
know.
even spelled B-E-L-L. It's B-E-L. It must be a family name or something.
It's probably some
I
sort
like
of,
that name, though, John Bell Edwards.
It's
Pretty
probably whatever the descendancies.
Yeah, that's I like that name.
But two things I noticed happened. Small notes, but kind of interesting. Vermont.
Wow, we're
Vermont.
talking. I didn't think we'd be talking about Vermont. What's Vermont doing?
Vermont Governor Phil Scott signed a bill into law that will launch
I like
a study.
Bell Edwards better.
Yes, that will launch a study of legalized sports betting.
He's launching a study.
Yes, we're not launching sports
Why
betting.
is he
We're going to
launching
think
a
about
study?
launching sports betting.
Why don't you drive about 20 minutes and go next door to New Hampshire and look at it? Why do you need to commission a study? Why do you have to spend money doing a study when almost half the states now have sports betting? A neighboring state has sports betting. What study do you need to do? Spend a weekend in New Hampshire, and there's your study.
Well, first of all, this is how you had to deal with Vermont. This wasn't even a sports betting bill. This was an expansion and an amendment to the alcoholic beverage laws. This was tagged on to that.
All right.
So they're going to do a study. It's going to be completed by October 15th of this year. And they're going to look at the various laws and models of the different states out there. Because they don't have casinos. They got to go with the Tennessee model.
See, that would be good for Vermont, the Tennessee model, where you have no retail sports books and you just go only online. Because let me tell you something about Vermont. I have an office in New England. Vermont is so cold in the winter.
Yep.
They got 10 feet of snow. You don't want to go outside of your house in Vermont if in the like January and February. It'd be perfect for online gambling.
Well, if you think about it, there's two models now to follow. Tennessee, and now you have Wyoming, which Wyoming is a wide open market. There's no limits into number of books that can go in there, and it's cheap. So I think they're going to look at what makes most sense for them. Again, online only makes the most sense before anything else.
Sure.
So we'll see. And also Pennsylvania. I don't mean to shift over that quickly, but Pennsylvania had an esports betting a bill introduced.
Yeah, they should, because Philadelphia is becoming a real hub of esports.
Well, HB 1580 was sent over to the House Gaming Oversight Committee. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to move forward or anything. This is just introduced. They're changing the definition of sports betting events to include esports. One of the few states that doesn't have esports on their sports betting bill. So, I mean, just like you can't bet on the draft in Pennsylvania. Right now, it's one of the few states that doesn't have esports on their sports betting law.
And let me tell you something. Esports is so important in Philadelphia. They have such amazing
That's
facilities.
one of the reasons why
it's
they
such
want
a
to do
great
it,
place.
because of what's going on in Philly, the esports forum that's
Makes
going
sense.
to be built.
Yeah, makes sense.
They got to stay with it.
Yep.
A couple of deals to hit. Draftkings and the American Gaming Association. They announced that they are going to collaborate with that Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly, responsible gaming program.
Great.
First national rollout, technically, for this the campaign. It's going to be there's going to be some reference to it in all the 10 retail books of DraftKings across the country.
And they have the slogan,
it's more fun when it's for fun.
it's more fun when it's for fun.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So first national rollout for that. Major League Baseball did a deal with the Action Network. Boy, Action Network has been doing some really good stuff lately.
I reference the Action Network almost every day because they have a section there where you can you put the bets in that you did on sportsbooks. You put your bets into the Action Network, and it tracks them for you. So it's, I place bets during the day. I put them in the Action Network app, and I follow along my bets all day. I love the Action Network.
Well, they're going to start integrating Action Network content, personnel, talent, and also programming onto all the MLB sites. Digital, in terms of programming, articles. Let's see, they're also going to incorporate the talent into that Bettor's Eye MLB TV digital stream show that they have for betting.
I have yet to see that.
I watched it on Twitter a couple of times.
How often is it on?
It's once a week.
Oh, okay. All right. Because baseball is like every day. I was wondering if they do that show every day.
Well, also, Action Network will be having sort of, I guess it's a companion show, Payoff Pitch, which is going to look ahead at the games coming up during the week.
It's a pretty cool title.
Yeah. So they're going to be working on all that content together. BetMGM announced a deal with the Professional Fighters League.
Now, the Professional Fighters League, did I read that they're doing things in Atlantic City?
Yes, they are. Most of the stuff happens in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Especially Ocean Casino Resort, Ocean Resort Casino, whatever it's called. That's where the ocean.
All right.
I've
never been to an event there. I've been there several times, but I just never.
I'm very curious to see.
I don't know what the rooms
look
like. They're event rooms or whatever they call
them. They are now a U.S. authorized gaming operator of the PFL. It's not technically sports betting.
Who is Ocean?
BetMGM.
BetMGM.
Yes.
Okay.
And because PFL has a multi-year partnership with Draftkings as the official sportsbook and daily fantasy partner of the PFL. But BetMGM will be having PFL-related promos. They're going to be doing VIP events for them, and they're going to be able to use the logos and marks on their website.
I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see it. I mean, they've been around for a couple years now, PFL, and they seem to have a really good following.
So you're saying in Atlantic City they're at Ocean Resorts Casino?
That's where they are.
All right.
They keep changing that name on me. For the last couple of years, it's been Ocean.
Did I say it right? Ocean Resorts Casino? Ocean Casino and Resort?
Let me tell you something. I always go by their Twitter handle, the Ocean AC.
The Ocean AC. Okay.
But that's it for this week's book report. Again, whatever we didn't hit in the time we're on the air, it's in print form at the blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button. That'll be up about maybe a half hour or so after this episode of the book report airs.
That'll do for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.